Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's February 16th, 2019. I'm down in the lower part of the northern workshop area. And today I swept up. Yesterday I'd gotten a lot of the insulation between the floor joists all the way around the back U-shaped area of this lower shop. There's quite a bit more I have to do up the walls, but I've got a fair amount done so far. So that's all of the insulation between the wall studs and between the ceiling joists or the floor joists from up above. So the next step is putting the insulation as another layer of thermal barrier on the inside of all of the support beams, the studs. So today I went upstairs, got the insulation down here, put some here for the first layer to go around, and have some more down in the south shop ready to cut up some pieces as well, and I'll explain that when I get to it. But one of the things I'll do is I'll start placing each one of these 4x8 sheets nice and snugly where I want them. And one of the things that I'll do is I need to temporarily fasten them to the wall before I have the opportunity to use the 2x3s that'll be going horizontally. That'll use the 5-inch long wood screws that'll drive through the 2x3, then through the 1.5 inches of insulation, and then into these studs for a support system. So the temporary holds are these little metal brackets. These actually came, I got these from the guy who sold the insulation to me several years ago. These are the ones, they had long wood screws going through them, or metal screws that held them in place before. And he was just tossing them to the side, said, "Can I have those?" So I got a few buckets of these. The screw holes are a little bit big, so I went ahead and drilled some smaller screw holes so I can use some 3-inch wood screws to temporarily fasten and snugly secure the insulation to the wall so that I've got nice tight joints, and then I can start attaching the 2x3s. And again, I'll be using 6-inch wood screws to attach the 2x3s through the insulation, the 1.5 inches of insulation, and attach them to the studs behind them. Those are the 2x6s. So let's get started. Hey folks, I'm back. It's the end of the day. It's still pretty darn cold out here, so I'm going to call it a day today. The first thing I did do, I set the pieces of rigid foam insulation, the polyisocyanate, up against the walls where they go. I went ahead and secured them with those small metal tabs that you see around in various locations. There's one right there, and with a 3-inch wood screw just temporarily holding them up against the studs. Next thing I did do was I used a T-square to scribe lines, so I knew the center of each one of those studs on the wall that went all the way down to the concrete. And those lines I'll be using when I put the sheets up tomorrow. Hopefully I'll get some more sheets up tomorrow. And I'll run that line all the way up, extend it so I know exactly where to put all the screws. Then I went ahead and went around and I put the first layer of 2x3 by 8 foot boards going horizontally. The reason why they're at the height where they're at, that's where the bottom plate of the 2x6 studded wall attaches to the cement blocks that extend up from the concrete floor level. So I was able to get a good purchase in there, screw 5-inch or 6-inch heavy-duty wood screws in through the 2x3, through 1.5 inches of insulation and right into those 2x6 studs. So that secured them real well. I went around, made sure they're nice and level and all. Pretty happy with how that worked out. On the east door, the 36-inch door, I went ahead and I'll be doing the same thing over here on this 5-foot door tomorrow. What I do is when we're anticipating heavy loads, like the large toolbox, that's 550, 560 pounds empty, so a few thousand pounds when it's full. And if I have to roll it through from room to room, and it's got to step down a notch here, there's an awful lot of weight that gets put on the threshold of the door. Therefore, I don't want to put 1.5 inches of insulation right there, although it would hold up for a couple hundred pounds. But once we get up to 500 pounds and greater, it could do some damage, compress that insulation as well. So I'm just putting thin insulation, 3/16 of an inch thick insulation behind the appropriate sized board over there. It's an 8-inch board that goes below the 36-inch door. I use my Bosch hammer drill to go ahead and drill holes in preparation for using some concrete screws. These were Tapcon concrete screws. So once we drill a hole through the wood, then we drill a hole through the concrete that's in the wall. And then I use the Tapcon screws or concrete screws to screw and hold the board and the insulation behind it, very thin insulation there. That way, whenever I've got to use a hand cart or any other carrying something heavy over the threshold, I don't have to worry about it. And I'm really careful, since I'm making these walls much thicker, that I don't raise the level of the threshold there in case I have to remove the jamb for the doors and don't have to destroy them. And I learned that from a previous experience years ago. I did go ahead and get the second layer of 2x3s around. I'll be able to remove all of those temporary plates tomorrow. There'll be about a 7¼ inch panel that'll go on top of this 4x8 sheet of polyisocyanate, then another sheet of 4x8 sheet as well, because we have the depth of the floor joists above, and this insulation is going all the way up to create a complete thermal barrier to block any transfer or bridging of heat going through any of the woody material, the studs. So that's going to do it for today. I'm pretty chilled out here today. Thea's getting out of work soon and she'll be coming home. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Give us a thumbs up if you think this video was of value. And by all means, folks, have a super fantastic day. I'm going to get back to this tomorrow. Bye-bye now.